Odile, you wanted to say something?
I just wondered whether, I know that Jackie Tabasso explained us that in her point of view, there is this humanitarian consequence and all the nations that are non-aligned nations that are gathered around this. And then there is a people like our organization and Abolition 2000 that still feel that it's more important to just keep on working on the NPT and not around any other route. So I was just wondering what's going on after Mexico from this kind of division.
Well,
Is it
what's
getting
going
worse?
on? About almost 20 nations came out ready to start negotiating a ban treaty. Okay, some of them were like Vanuatu, Fiji, I can't remember if the Marshall Islands were included, but very small countries. But all it takes, I think, is 20 countries to get started, and they're just about to that number. Jackie is very cynical about this.
Yeah.
But we have Jackie Tabasso and Alice Slater in our committee. It's really fun because Alice Slater is really enthusiastic and Jackie is very cynical, and sometimes we just have them going at each other. And I've seen them hug each other too. So,
But again,
there's hope.
But there's some hope. But Odile is right in identifying that there's another war.
Right.
And but it's a very small amount of people who are kind of loyal to a strategy that we all tried for so many years. I have spent just so many years of my life at the NPT and pushing for an abolition treaty. Why would you disparage a step towards that goal? Why, that is actually having some traction? So it feels like there's some strange nostalgia for a strategy that we depleted completely by trying our hearts out. And if they're attached to it, I think that's their problem. But I think it's fine for people to continue to believe in the ban treaty. Go for it. I fucking wrote it. I love it. But it's not working. It's not getting traction. It's not working. So Jackie is a bit out of step, I think, here.
And it's not a substitute for an abolition treaty.
No,
Yeah.
no
It's
one's saying
seen
it
as
is.
a step on the way.
Right.
So anyway, we better move along because we don't have too many minutes left here. But this is, stop right there. Beatrice Finn joins ICANN as executive director. I don't know, you may have a comment. Beatrice, Susie Snyder, Beatrice Finn, and Ray Atchison, our former and present Reaching Critical staff, are on the board of ICANN, and they spend about as much time on ICANN as they do on Reaching Critical Will. But now Beatrice has actually moved over to ICANN. She is deeply committed on this, so we have to have her.
And what's the difference between Reaching Critical Will and ICANN?
ICANN is a child of the Physicians for the Prevention of Nuclear War.
One is a campaign and the other one is an information service.
And what does it stand for, international?
Campaign to abolish nuclear weapons.
I know.
But they work very closely together. It's more than a coalition. So so this is something to be hopeful about. You saw at the beginning Vienna. That's the next meeting. Austria will host it. And they're expecting to actually, or hoping to actually move into the negotiation phase from there. I was at the NPT this year. We met with the Austrian ambassador. He was a lovely man. A little scared, he said, because he knew how much rested on this, but ready to try it, to see if they could do it. And Austria, Malaysia, Costa Rica, and Mexico are the 4 totally committed countries. Norway got sort of a right-wing government, but it has been committed. Canada, same thing happened, that they have a huge, many people who are committed. And Switzerland is right there. And there are some others of the bigger countries that do support it, but the four I named are the active ones. Well, we should move on, but I wanted to tell you, it's listed, I think, on the sheet I gave you. They're reaching critical will. Ray Atchison and someone from the Article 36 Committee in Britain have done a pamphlet, maybe as many as 32 pages. But anyway, it's on why we need and why we can get a ban treaty. And anybody who's working with disarm should bring that up and read it. Okay, let's go to the next hope. There's another hope, we'll touch it very briefly, but it's a big hope. It's a David and Goliath story, which many of you may have heard of. If you would go, yeah, it's there. Do you see it?
Your screen is locked.
Oh, okay. All right, so the Marshall Islands.
Yay.
We want the one that's, that's on
Nuclear
there.
Peace Foundation.
Yeah, it's on
Some paper.
When you go to their site, there's a.
I passed all the papers out. Does anyone have the paper with the websites?
You might find it this way.
No, nuclear, it's nuclear
There,
or
click on the.
nuclear zero.
Yeah.
Nuclear zero, this is it.
Nuclear zero, yeah.
So we'll go through this quickly. The Marshall Islands has filed this court. How many of you have heard of it already? Then we don't need to spend much time on it. They used to have a beautiful picture of the Marshall Islands to open it. I wanted to cry every time I saw it. Just keep going down slowly then. How many of you signed the pledge that goes with it? Okay, so this is something you can do. And also, we're trying to get other organizations and other countries. Remember, I approached you to see if you could help us with Costa Rica. So there's the petition. Does it keep going down now?
I don't know, I just thought I'd see.
Yeah, the courts.
Yeah, what's going on.
So it's the International Court of Justice and the Federal District Court in San Francisco, which the U.S. is trying to dismiss.
Right.
And so our lawyers, I'm saying our lawyers, they're our lawyers, will respond in mid-August and say why it shouldn't be dismissed.
Want to
Okay,
see if
keep
there's
going
anything
down.
new, on what's going on?
Keep going down.
There's
Are you
U.S.
still on the
conference.
same site?
No, she just moved to.
There's a U.S. conference of mayors.
All right.
Go back.
Okay, the site then goes into the story of what happened on the Marshall Islands. I think it was 67 times we bombed them with nuclear weapons, including the largest one the U.S. ever exploded, which will leave several of the atolls uninhabitable for, well, bikini perhaps forever. And
I am not finding that history on this website.
okay, something
But
went
it's like
wrong
not
with
letting me go
that.
backward.
Right.
But you can look at it, explore it yourself, and so find any way you can to support it. If you have Facebook or something, put the petition on for your friends to sign. Tell people about it. They're asking nothing for themselves, and they've suffered so much. They're only asking the nuclear powers to sit down and start negotiating an abolition treaty. Okay, I'm going to
There's the picture.
finish now. If you will go to the mine is stuck, you said?
No, we're
Yeah,
seeing the
no.
picture.
Oh, here it is, okay.
And nuclear savage videos right there.
The nuclear savage video doesn't work. It turned out
Oh.
it was copyrighted, but there is, you can get all the suits and read them if you have a legal tight mind. And if you want to go down, you can see a little more. Anyway, it's, this is one of, to see the creativity of the non-nuclear powers, and this has been boiling up over the last couple of years. And the General Assembly is where the excitement is now, the first committee, which will start meeting in October. And we might be able to get some people there. We do try to get people to the